Well, I feel like I haven't made a video in a long time, but one of the big topics that has been going on recently, especially in the YouTube space, in the news business world, is the fall of China. How many videos have you seen in the past week or 2 weeks on the Chinese economy is going to collapse in 28 days, China's massive crisis coming, the CCP is going to fall. You've seen all the titles that I've been seeing. So, I am wondering, is this actually going to happen? Are we actually seeing a massive fall in the Chinese economy? And are we seeing a massive fall in the political structure of China? Because personally, I would be very happy to see the political structure of China changing dramatically. I mean, who doesn't want to see a communist country collapse and become a democracy? I'd be a very happy man if I saw that coming. So how much truth is there to these, well, let's say these reports that are coming out and saying that China is collapsing and falling with regards to the economy, and also the CCP is struggling? Let's take a look at what's been happening.
This is not bankrupt Sri Lanka or any other developing country. This is the scene in China, the world's second largest economy. Citizens are storming the Bank of China after being unable to access or withdraw their life savings for months.
That is crazy. Imagine in a first world country, I mean, China's, the second biggest economy. America's the biggest. I know they're quite touch and go on who's the biggest, but China, it's a first world country. Imagine you put your money in the bank and then you go to withdraw it one day and they say, we're having issues, we can't let you withdraw your money, and after a couple months you still can't withdraw your money. That is crazy. Imagine if that happened in America. The streets will be crowded with people. And even in China, when they haven't lost their life savings, but when they can't withdraw their life savings, even in that communist country of China, they're willing to protest on the streets because there are, we'll see, a set amount of banks that haven't allowed citizens to withdraw their money. That is a big thing if you really think about it. Not being able to withdraw your life savings that you've worked so hard for. That is massive.
In my previous video about Chinese banks, I covered how this situation started in the Henan region of China. Now the problem is spreading throughout the country, and people are panicking over losing access to their hard-earned money.
看到没？大伙看到没？各界媒体啊，中央的爷爷奶奶们，你们看一看，都有暴力机关，那些警察把我们合理维权的处付。这些人你看他们，这还是中国的天吗？这还是中国吗？救救这些老百姓，救救这些储户吧。
More details have now come out from the fraud investigation that shows that the fraudster behind the Henan bank scheme has possibly left the country and gotten foreign citizenship. The government is refusing to return the $6 billion that have disappeared from bank deposits. As the news picks up steam in Chinese social media and mainstream media, the strain on Chinese banks is getting heavier and heavier. Now it's deemed less safe to keep cash in these banks, including the big four state-owned banks. It's extremely likely that China is heading towards a complete collapse of its financial systems as people lose trust in the banks.
That is a big statement, saying that it's extremely likely that we're going to see a collapse in the Chinese financial system. That is a big statement to make. But I can see where this guy, whoever runs this channel, Business Basics, is coming from. When your banks, banks is where everyone puts their money. Banks is where you loan money from. That's where you get money when you want to start a business, when you want to buy a house. Banks are key to the financial structure of an economy, and when banks start to fail, start to not give the depositors their money back, their hard-earned money that they've saved in the bank, yes, I mean, I mean, it's kind of a fair statement to make to say that this could in turn result in a collapse of China's financial system. I don't know if it's going to cause this, but who knows? It could cause it.
This could have far-reaching effects on its economy and the global economy.
Banks are also embroiled in an ongoing scandal involving several rural lenders in the central Henan province.
$6 billion in deposits disappeared.
Adding social instability, protests, and street agitation.
This is expected to have repercussions beyond the country's financial sector.
In a financial crackdown that has had ripple effects across the world's second largest economy.
Before jumping into the investigation and the fugitive, let's quickly go over the scheme that kickstarted this whole panic. I covered this in detail in my previous video. I would highly recommend you check that out by clicking the card above, but here's a quick recap. And first, a side note. A lot of my China making laws by advertising online and attracting deposits outside their jurisdiction.
Yeah, we gotta watch an advert.
Game. You're not.
As COVID hit, the house of cards started crumbling and banks had to shut down withdrawals to prevent bankruptcy back in April. In order to not cause panic, banks claimed that online systems were being taken down for scheduled upgrades. But it's been months now, and online services are still not back up.
Yeah, we're gonna do a scheduled upgrade. You can't take your money out of the bank. That's always a great excuse from any institution. Yeah, we're just upgrading our platform. Yeah, I know you got millions of dollars in the bank. I know these are your life savings. You can't take it out right now. We're doing a scheduled upgrade. Come on.
When depositors go to the ATM to withdraw their cash, it seems to decline the transaction and eventually it shuts down the card in suspicion of fraud. All in an attempt to stop customers from withdrawing their own.
Yeah, you're withdrawing your own money from your own bank that you've put that money into. When you go to withdraw it, oh, there's a suspicion of fraud. You can't withdraw your money. I mean, this is typical China. Typical, you know. I'm not hating on the Chinese people, but the Chinese political system and their structure within it. It's a typical Chinese behavior. Imagine if this happened in America. Imagine if this happened in the democratic countries like Australia, New Zealand, England. People would go nuts. And let's be honest, I think the government would sort it out. It happens in China. People are actually not afraid to step up and say, why is this happening? But as I've seen in other articles, the Chinese government has tried to calm it down. I mean, as we saw at the start of the video, they even put tanks right in front of the big banks to protect the banks from protesters. So they're not afraid to use power, the Chinese government. I mean, come on, say something we didn't know. Grass is green, Chinese government, they're pretty corrupt.
Money. 3 months later, customers still have not been able to access their funds, which has led to various protests and other actions.
Large group of very angry demonstrators faced off with the police.
The recent mass protests will be worrying for leaders.
Later on, we'll see how this panic is now spreading to other provinces and the entire Chinese banking sector. But first, let's go over what the authorities' investigation has revealed. Authorities found that 4 banks in Henan had one commonality, and that commonality was Henan New Fortune Group, who was a shareholder in all 4 companies. They were the ones who pushed the limits in terms of following the banking restrictions. Since the law requires local banks to stay in their jurisdiction, they decided to advertise online to attract more deposits. On top of pushing the limits in who they can serve, they also misled consumers through false advertising. Many depositors who decided to do business with these banks were promised upwards of 4% interest on their deposits. But in reality, these consumers weren't really opening a normal bank account.
You can get 4% interest on your bank account, but when you go to withdraw your money, you can't withdraw it. Is that a good deal? I don't know.
They were in fact investing in financial products, two completely different things that customers would learn later down the line. Remember these points, as this becomes a bigger issue when the CCP decides to get involved. On top of false advertising, these new deposits didn't go to the banks. Oh no. Henan New Fortune Group colluded with bank employees and made sure that customer deposits went straight to the shareholder accounts. As authorities were made aware of these risky practices, they were quick to charge 2 executives with fraud. Authorities were able to arrest 1 executive, but the chairman of the company has since fled the country and is suspected that he has made his way into the United States. With him are gone.
Why does he have to come into the United States? Can't he just go to some other country? Come on. How did the United States accept him? I guess he had a whole lot of money and they said, come on in, you've got enough money, you can come.
The $6 billion that customers had deposited into the bank. This is where the true headache for the authorities began. They can't return the money, even if they wanted to. This wasn't some Bernie Madoff type scheme. This was way worse than that. In the case of Madoff, the government was able to recover most of the principal amount.
Okay, I should probably stop watching this guy's video because I'll probably get copyright on YouTube or something like that. But I think we've got the general gist of the matter. And I don't know, everyone keeps saying that this is going to cause a massive collapse in China's financial system. I don't know if it's enough to cause that. Maybe it will affect it a little bit and we'll see some fall in GDP, we'll see some more protests. Will it collapse fully? I'm not sure. I hope it would. I'd love to see a collapse in China. Not because I would want to see the Chinese people suffering, but for a couple of reasons. First, I know stocks would be selling for cheap. And second, it might actually help the political system and help reshape the CCP in a better way. Obviously, there's so many different parts playing in the matter, and who knows how it will resolve and how it will finish out. But I'm optimistic that when we see certain systems start to fail, we'll see new and better ones grow as a result of this. That is my hope anyway. Just like in Sri Lanka, they kicked out the corrupt government and the corrupt president. Hopefully they grow something beautiful in the process of this. But this is just what I'm hoping with regards to China as well. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is enough to to see banks actually fully fail and China enter a financial crisis? Or do you think this has just been a bit over exaggerated by YouTubers? It could be a bit of both, but let me know what you think in the comment section below. And I'm gonna keep reviewing what's going on in China because there's a lot at play here. It's not just the banks failing. They're also struggling with regards to their housing market. They overbuilt houses and property that they couldn't afford, and now we're seeing a decline in prices and people not paying their mortgage. So there is a bunch of factors at play here in China. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how it all plays out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, let me know if you want me to do more of these types of videos. I would like to do a bit longer form. I could talk about this for like 30 minutes. I could go over a lot of different topics with regards to China. But obviously when it comes to YouTube, 30-minute videos is not the norm. Generally, the norm is around that 10-minute mark for YouTube that tends to do well. But I'd be happy to talk about this for a while and go really in depth into this topic. Would you guys like to see that? Or maybe not, maybe not. Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what other topics you might want me to go over. I'll try answer it as truthfully as I possibly can and try dig past the headlines and the over exaggeration, so to speak, and actually try get to the truth. I'll try my best. Not saying I am the best at that. Who knows? But yep, hope you enjoyed the video.